Don't send my boy to MIT, the dying mother said. Don't send my boy to Emory, I'd rather see him dead. But send my boy to Georgia Tech, 'tis better than Cornell. As for the University of Georgia, I'd rather see him in hell! To hell, to hell, to hell with Georgia. To hell, to hell, to hell with Georgia. To hell, to hell, to hell with Georgia, the cesspool of the South. My eyes have seen the glory of the stomping of the dogs. We will teach the boredom farm boys they should stick to slopping hogs. When the Jackets are triumphant, there will be a mighty cheer. We'll do the same next year. To hell, to hell, to hell with Georgia. To hell, to hell, to hell with Georgia. To hell, to hell, to hell with Georgia, the cesspool of the South. On the field between the hedges there arose a mighty stench. In the dog's machine the engineers had thrown a monkey wrench. When the Jackets are triumphant we will raise a mighty yell. Them dogs can go to hell. To hell, to hell, to hell with Georgia. To hell, to hell, to hell with Georgia. To hell, to hell, to hell with Georgia, the cesspool of the South. My eyes have seen the glory of the NCAA. They're investigating Georgia players to see how much they're paid. After counting all the cars and the loans alumni made, they outpay the NBA. To hell, to hell, to hell with Georgia. To hell, to hell, to hell with Georgia. To hell, to hell, to hell with Georgia, the cesspool of the South. The cesspool of the South.
Yeah, no one's in their the only people in their feelings are Tech fans. Sir, I mean, have you been on the internet in the past 20 years? All y'all do is whine, bitch, and complain anytime anyone says anything to you. You spent all day commenting on my videos. So continue to cry about it and try and make yourself feel better.
Scared. Say you scared dog fans. Your nightmare Brent Keys coming to town. Yo, look there. Yeah, you wanna tell me Brent Keys barking up the wrong tree. Don't 90% of your players leave UGA without a degree. You already scared out of your mind, making all your excuses. Kinda like your rush defense, useless. Oh my God, WreckTalk, we're playing on a short week. That's the reason we think our dogs might get beat. We have a tough schedule, don't you know we have injuries? Oh, just shut up, y'all, you get no sympathy from me. All I've heard all years are UGA's insecurities, and you delusional fans wanna talk about your natties. The only natty you'll see is a natty light, and Georgia Tech running the ball down your throat all night. So to hell with Georgia, I say piss on them. Go get in your feelings about because your team ain't shit. Whoa, whoa, oh no. So to hell with Georgia, I say piss on them. You drunken inbred hicks tote this L all the way back to the sticks. When we play most teams, they'll say we can't beat you in the referees. When you play Georgia, they say we can't beat you in the APD. That's the real UGA rivalry, playing for Kirby and avoiding the penitentiary. No one's scared of the team that you put up on the field. It's scared after the game when you all get behind the wheel. Go ahead and get good and drunk this coming Friday night, and maybe you'll black out and forget the ass whooping you took for the gold and white. And yeah, UGA has won 2 out of the last 15. I still say piss on them dogs, and they can suck on my fat hog. I hate to break it to you, but you're not the team that you used to be. Carson Beck likes to throw picks and they come in threes. You got no run defense and a worse run offense, so you win in this rivalry, that's past tense. Aaron Fillo's about to drop 350 on you. You got a QB that throws as good as he looks, like straight doo-doo. You gave up 200 rushing yards to UMass. We'll put up 300. Hell, we might not even have to quit. Georgia, I say piss on him. Go get in your feelings about it, cause your team ain't shit. Whoa. So the hell with Georgia, to the stage. Yeah, we must see.
What is going on, everybody? I see we got some Bulldog fans in here. Have something to say. You know what? Maybe we'll open up the StreamYard. If you want to come in, speak your piece, you can most certainly do that. I wasn't even going to come on here tonight. You know, we got Thanksgiving tomorrow, and setting aside the rivalry and all that, I do hope you have a great Thanksgiving, no matter who you root for. So there's an olive branch extended to you. But yeah, I wasn't going to come in here today. But you know, reading some of these comments, you know, no matter what you say to a Georgia fan, no matter how true, they can't handle it. Everything, every player they have on their team is the best player in the country. You know, anything that seems like something to be worried about. Oh, you know, it was a great point in the chat. Oh, we ain't worried about that JUCO school up in Atlanta. Well, you pretty much let a JUCO school stomp a mud hole in your ass and stomp it dry from end zone to end zone. Oh, yeah, but that don't matter. Yeah, that don't matter. Weren't trying. We weren't trying. We're sleepwalking. Game didn't matter for us. Now, here's the hilarious thing. That's what you're setting yourself up for in this game. I've never met a more sensitive group of babies that wins as much as their team does and just melts anytime someone says something about their team. Meanwhile, they terrorize and talk shit about everyone else in the country. But then when you talk about their team, oh, we got to clutch our pearls. Oh my God. Carson Beck looks like absolute trash at times this season. No, he's better than Cam Ward. No, he's better than Cam Ward. You give up what? 14,000 sacks to Ole Miss. No, that's just an anomaly that we weren't really trying in that game. Doesn't matter. You know, anytime something happens to you dummies that don't matter, weren't trying. So I tell you what, we'll open up the StreamYard here. I'll pin it in the top of the chat. And I might, let me just read, we'll read some of these comments from these boys. Let's go through them, man. View all. And some people just be like, well, I mean, we've just dominated you. Who cares? And what am I going to say to that? But most of them aren't smart enough to go along those lines. Let's find a good one. Yeah. Hunker here. He's up in his feelings. Like a lot of my fellow Georgia fans, I try to like y'all. No, you don't. I mean, I don't, why would you want to like us? Piss on y'all. I'm not trying to like y'all. It's a rivalry. I actually want the Jackets to be good. Again, no, they don't, because that would mean that they're going to lose to them at some point, and they can't handle that. And I was one of your first 50 subscribers. Well, great. Thank you. But the inferiority complex is just nauseatingly pathetic. No one has an inferiority complex like these guys, and they don't have a reason to. It's insane. When we beat them in 2016, the place I was working at the time, there was a guy that was a massive Georgia fan there, and he comes huffing and puffing into work the next day, and he's like, and I mean, he's legitimately pissed. The following Monday that we get to work, he comes up to me, like grabs my arm, he's like, let me tell you something, man. You better tell them to leave our hedges alone. Leave our hedges alone. Like, my God, man. Yeah, we've won 3 of the last 15. We win 1 of them. And you come to work crying. But no, y'all don't have any kind of complex. Y'all aren't soft. You're right. Oh, and then he also takes a shot at my channel. It figures that your biggest video has Dog Nation in the thumbnail. First of all, that's not true. My most viewed video is, I don't even like it. It's about conference realignment. Now, he probably never saw it because it had to do with math. I was breaking down TV numbers, media shares, and stuff, and he probably said, "Oh, shit, they adding and subtracting numbers and shit. I ain't watching that. That's way over my head. Way over my head." Dog Nation's trash. In fact, any reasonable Georgia fan says Dog Nation is trash. And then they'll say, "Oh, no, he's just being sarcastic, though." No, he's not. By the way, Brent Key came out today and I don't know if it was on ACC Network, but said that did nothing but praise Georgia. Basically, was like, "Look, it's really neat that this rivalry has two head coaches that are coaching at their alma mater, so that adds something different to it." And he's like, "Yeah, he's built a fantastic program." I think he even said, one of the like greatest stretches of the last 40 years. They still think that he hasn't polished their knob enough. That's why last year I said, "I'll never say anything good about you inbred rejects again, ever. There's not a least deserving fan base. There's not. Even if you beat us 100-0 tomorrow, piss on y'all. I'll still be here. If we beat y'all disappear." Let's bring on Zach Jones. What's going on, buddy?
Yo, what up, Rick?
What's going on, man?
Not much, man. I wanted to talk to you about Philo for a second.
All right, let's talk about Aaron Philo.
I'll be honest with you, and I know this is kind of a Georgia hate stream, so I don't want to be too negative, but I do actually want to talk to you, like, and get your honest opinion.
Well, unlike Georgia fans, I can criticize my own team and find faults in it, so go ahead.
I want to ask you, like, because I was watching. Have you watched the? It's the Film Network YouTube channel, and it's like the Georgia fans, and they do like the film they do like the film review.
I saw you posted it in the Discord, so I guess there were some things with Philo that were not great.
Yeah, so I'll say this. He from the film they did on the NC State game, and I'll say this. I'm not gonna lie to you. They were like low key kind of hating on Philo, and that part like that I don't like. He is a true freshman, and he did say that one time. He does kind of understand, but at the same time, he was kind of like, "Oh, Aaron Philo makes a lot of mistakes. This is going to be interceptions versus Georgia." I was like, "Okay, well, he's a freshman at the end of the day. There's only so much we can ask." But at the same time, it does make me kind of wonder, from the film they were showing in the NC State game, he did have 4 or 5 turnover worthy plays versus NC State. It does make me wonder how much, and this is what I want to ask you, how much do you think they're going to limit Philo? Because Buster isn't stupid. This coaching staff isn't stupid. No matter what Georgia fans want to say, we actually do have competent coaches that pay attention to what they pay attention to the sport of football. How much do you think they're going to limit Philo? How do you think we're going to game plan?
So before we get into that real quick, CJ, it looks like you're moderating or blocking messages that don't need to be blocked. So if someone wants to come in here that's a Georgia fan and just talk trash, like, we don't need to block that. Just let you know. You only block something if they're saying something incredibly crazy. So stop doing that. How we're going to game plan with Philo? Yeah, Philo's kind of a guy that's just going to put the ball there and take chances. The unfortunate thing with Philo is, when he has hit some really good passes, we haven't helped him out at all. So we've dropped, we've left points on the board with drops. We've turned touchdowns into interceptions, like the one with Avery Boyd at Virginia Tech. I think what we're going to do with Aaron Philo is we'll probably sacrifice routes for protection. So we'll probably keep the running back in protection, try to give him as much protection as possible. Because Georgia's game plans, for anytime you're facing a young quarterback that doesn't have a lot of experience, you're going to want to be aggressive. So probably going to want to get the ball out quick with shorter routes, which might be tough for him, right? That might be why he has this issue of throwing into coverage. and kind of getting away with it. He's kind of always looking for that big 25, 35, 45 yard throw, but probably to be successful, you're going to have to catch Georgia blitzing and hitting a slant off of it, hitting a drag off of it, checking down to the flat or whatever your hot route is. And I don't know if I talked about it on this channel, but anytime there's a sack, people want to blame the offensive line, which isn't true. If they blitz more than you have blockers, it's on the quarterback to get it out. But I think Follows he's a playmaker, right? So I'm confident in it. But I think our game plan, first and foremost, and a requirement to winning is you're going to have to be able to run the ball for probably more than 150 yards. That you're going to have to do that. You can't just expect Philo to go out there and throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns or something to win this game. It's just not going to happen.
I think, honestly, I kind of think Tech fans, and this is what I think. Now, could this happen? Yes. Will it happen? Who knows? But I personally, from my own film review, looking at how Georgia's defense is, I honestly think if this offense wants to be successful, knowing Philo is going to make freshman mistakes throwing the ball, me personally, I would play this just like you do Haynes King, especially last year when he was throwing a lot of interceptions. I would tell Aaron Philo, and I know Haynes King is mentoring him, so that's another part of it. I would tell Aaron Philo, do your best impression of being Haynes King. Because the way Georgia's defense is, they do not load the box. They're not going to sit there and try to guard the QB run, and that's why King had such a big day last year versus Georgia. That's how Georgia's defense always is. They're going to have a safety back no matter what coverage they're in. They're not going to load the box. Aaron Philo, I honestly, if this offense wants to move, I think he has to at least take off and run at least 10 to 15 times in this game. I think he's got to do his best Haynes King impression. Maybe 2 touchdown runs, just like Haynes King did last year. If we get into the red zone, look to maybe get him off of a read option. And I want to ask him to throw no more than maybe a 15-yard pass because I really don't know. I love Philo. I don't know if I trust him throwing deep balls in this game. I would say just run the offense like you do Haynes King. You don't have to do too many deep balls. You can do it to test the waters, but I wouldn't do it like how you did NC State. I would just run him. He's showing you he can run. Run him like you do Haynes King.
Yeah, I mean, here's my thing with that. You don't want Philo to try and be someone he's not. He's not anything like Haynes King.
No,
he's not really a run threat unless they're in man coverage and you have all deep routes and they've not disciplined in their pass rush lane. So my thing would be take a 10-yard or a 7-yard pickup if the defense presents itself and the down and distance makes sense to do so. I think the strongest part of Aaron Philo's game is his deep ball. What you've got to coach him to do is if it's not there, it's not there. You don't have to score on every play. You're not going to score on every play. You don't have to pick up a first down or 20 yards every play. You got to give what the defense, or you got to take what the defense is giving you. I do think Georgia's going to be very aggressive. I do think they're going to stack the box, and I do think they're going to challenge Aaron Philo to throw. But you got to pick your spots with it, and you got to help them out. You can't leave points on the board. You can't have drop balls. You can't turn the ball over, and you've got to be able, even if they're being aggressive, to give them support running the ball. Now, that's one of the big questions is I don't know what the health of Jamal Haynes is. Yeah, can you hear me? Hello? I'm talking.
Oh, you cut out for me there. Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I was just saying we got to help him running the ball, and I don't know what the health of Jamal Haynes is. Chad Alexander, Trey Cooley. I haven't listened to today's press conference, and I don't know how much Keys said about it, but that's going to be pivotal.
I think Jamal, I don't think he did say an update, but I think they asked Jamal, and I think he said he feels good. I think. I may be thinking about Eford. I know Eford said he feels good, but I want to say Jamal said the same. I think he is playing, but yeah, I mean, I agree. I think the biggest thing that maybe, and I think that the chat's trying to say that I'm saying design, I'm saying if you get down into the red zone, maybe look for a read option. Chat, I'm not saying you do read options nonstop like Haynes King. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like what WreckTalk said. if 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 all your guys are covered, do what you did in NC State. Do not be afraid to take off. He's shown he can take off. Don't force balls. And I think that's really the biggest thing in this game. I think this coaching staff is going to show how well you can coach a freshman, because freshmen are going to make mistakes. It's going to be interesting to see how well we can coach Philo, and make sure he plays mistake-free football. I mean, he's not going to play perfect, but you got to play pretty much mistake-free.
Yeah, you can't have, big momentum swinging like turnovers. Like you can't throw a pick six or something. You can't let them like score on defense or something, or just have a massively horrible play. But I appreciate you calling in, man. We got some more people back here.
Yes,
are
sir,
you
man.
going? Are you going to the game?
No, unfortunately not. I'm gonna be on a hunting trip, so I'm gonna watch it. We'll be in a little RV, so it'll be a little our own little echo chamber. But yeah, I'll be watching it.
All right, sounds good, man. Appreciate you calling in.
All right, man. Y'all have a good one.
Let me see what you're saying in the chat here. Congratulations, Mr. Sutherland. Glad to hear that. Really wish I could be on the sidelines in Athens this Friday. I think this will be hype and a close game by 5 points or under. How many 5 stars do the Jackets have? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They don't determine who wins based on your recruiting class. But yeah, continue talking. Yeah, that's true, Griffin. Miami had 5 stars. Miami has what could be the best quarterback in the country, and Miami has a better offense than you. I know y'all don't want to hear that. Y'all, again, anything that's not Georgia's the best at this, y'all can't handle. But that's the truth. It's supported by something called numbers, which y'all know nothing about. Let's bring on Jake. What's going on? You're on with the Wreck.
What's up? I just want to talk about Georgia.
I'm having trouble hearing you. How old are you? You sound like you're about like 8 or 9 years old.
No, I'm like 13.
13? Okay. Did you say you're a Georgia fan?
Yeah. No, I said I hate Georgia fans.
Oh, good. Yeah, go ahead, man. Yeah, to hell with them.
I remember one guy that is a fan. He told me that
Yeah, unfortunately, man, I just can't hear you. It sounds like you either have bad service or your microphone's malfunction. I'll give you one more try and we'll move on.
Hear me now?
I think so. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Well,
there you go. I think that's better. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So you had you were talking to a Georgia fan or something? What was going on?
Yeah. He told me Ole Miss is about to be blown out. I'm happy he lost. He came back to me and started barking at me.
Yeah, they like to do that. They're proud of barking, and some people haven't evolved beyond the point of lesser animals, and they're a good example of that. So it doesn't surprise me that he just started barking at you as if that constitutes an argument.
I know. And also, I was watching the Dog Nation thing, and why is he talking about how Georgia people are civilized whenever y'all bark at every single person you meet?
Well, I mean, he tries and be civilized, and maybe he is, whilst just espousing ignorance everywhere. So it's interesting. But man, there's a ton of noise in the background there. I appreciate you calling in, but we're gonna move on.
Okay, bye.
All right, appreciate it, buddy. All right, we got Big K, and then Brian will be next. Big K, you're on with Wreck. How are you, sir?
I'm good. You?
I'm doing good, man.
So I'm very excited to watch this game, and then and I'm very excited. And then another thing is that I feel like one key to victory in this game is that whenever I know our offense is capable of scoring on Georgia. It's just that whenever we get in the red zone, we cannot keep kicking field goals. We have to get the ball in the end zone. It's like we cannot beat Georgia with threes. We need to beat them with sevens.
Yeah, you certainly can't trade touchdowns for field goals with them. I mean that's
true.
not going to work.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So the thing is that whenever our offense get in the red zone, we cannot stall. We need to finish drive with touchdowns.
For sure. Yeah, I mean red zone efficiency is going to be a big deal. I think you called in before. You're a tech student, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I'm Kunling. I just changed my nickname this time to BK. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we have to give you the test to verify this. What is the derivative of 2x cubed?
2x cubed is 6x squared.
This man knows. This man knows.
I'm a Georgia Tech fan. Which Georgia's fans are probably not good at this question.
No, we can do derivatives of polynomials all night for sure. But yeah,
Yes,
I mean, what else do you think are keys to victory for Tech in this game?
Yeah, another key for victory is that we need to pressure a turnover prone Carson Beck. It's that we need to force Carson Beck to throw interceptions.
Yeah, and I mean, we are going to have to win the turnover battle. We have not been good. I mean, as where we're ranked as far as interceptions is probably near the end. What you can't do is give Carson Beck all day to throw in a clean pocket and think that he's not going to light you up. And we also probably don't have the talent on defensive line to where you're just going to be able to pressure them with your down 4. So you're going to have to be creative with blitzing. But obviously, if you blitz, you don't get there or they pick it up, you're going to get stung, no pun intended. That was probably not the best word. But the point being, you got to be creative with how you attack this guy.
Yeah, true. Yeah, and another thing is that we don't necessarily have to force Carson Beck to throw picks to win. For example, like in the Miami game, it's like Cam Ward did not throw any picks, but we still hold him to 23 points.
Yeah, and the interesting, kind of a nuanced point we talked about last time with that is, why were we able to get pressure on and I see Rock and Rant is in here. I'll read the super chats in a second. Why were we able to get pressure on Cam Ward? Well, it's the style of play that Cam Ward has. Like Cam Ward kind of refuses to run when it's available to him, and he tries to play hero ball and dance around in the pocket, and that just gives you more time to get to him, and it bit him in that game. So
yeah, because I feel like Cam Ward, part of the reason why they lost to Georgia Tech is that because whenever he can get some small plays, he never considered all the small plays that he can gain a few yards. He always wants to he wants every play to be explosive plays.
Yeah, he wants to throw downfield. And here's what I can say, man. I know we trashed Georgia a lot. What I can say about Carson Beck from watching him, and I've probably watched Georgia as much as I have. They're probably the most watched team I have outside of Tech. Beck, he's not the most fleet-footed guy, but if he has a running lane to pick up a first, I mean, he'll do it. And we've gotten burned with it before. But, well, man, I appreciate you calling in. You got any final words?
Thank you. Yeah, so final words is to hell with Georgia, and let's pull the upset.
I heard that, man. Cool. We got, I don't know if you want me to say your last name, but we got Brian in here. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, buddy? And I agree with the last one. Let's start off with the hell with Georgia.
Yeah, the hell with them, man. Piss on them.
The hell with them. I see it's going to have to be some steady pressure on Beck. I think we're going to pretty much have to do that all night. If not, he's going to pick us apart.
Yeah.
Because they love throwing them little throws to the sidelines, and they get 5, 10, 8. They'll just eat it. But,
well, they're good at taking what a defense gives. I mean, they're the 9th ranked passing offense for a reason, and as much as I'd like to say everything they do is garbage, I mean, they look, they're probably the 2nd most talented team in the country behind Ohio State. I mean, it's a tall order in front of us.
Yeah, definitely. And the other thing is, our freshman quarterback, the one thing he's got to get better at is deciding with the exchange with the running back. I feel like it's off. He takes too long to decide if he's going to pull it or let it go, But I think once he gets that under control, I think give him a little bit of time on the field for Friday night. I think he's going to turn up.
Yeah, I'll address that. Give me 1 second before I forget to read these super chats. I'm going to make sure I haven't missed anything. I would hate to shortchange anybody. Rambling on with Zach Jones with a $2. Appreciate it, but he said kid sounds better than UGA fans after a loss. He definitely makes more sense. He doesn't just bark and make animal noises, and again, thinks this constitutes any sort of an argument or conversation. Rock and Rant, who's a Miami fan, and look, as I think about it, and I'm like, man, there's some fan bases like I hate most of them, and I do hate Miami, but Rock and Rant's a good dude. Appreciate the $5, buddy. Says happy Thanksgiving WreckTalk to you and all of your community. Do us all a favor and put an L on the SEC and Georgia. Well, we're going to do our best, man. We're going to do our absolute best. Remind me what you were saying again. Oh, the exchanges. Here's the thing with Georgia Tech's offense that makes that a little bit tricky is we like to run that jet motion with a wide receiver. And so you're basically disguising, is it going to the wide receiver? Is it going to the running back, or is the quarterback keeping it? The problem is you've got all this moving pieces in front of you. The snap can hit the wide receiver if it's not timed right and put it on the ground. Yeah. Or if it obscures the quarterback's view, this has happened before where we have trouble getting the snap and we put it on the ground. I mean, inside of probably half of a second, there's a lot that quarterback's having to take care of. So I definitely agree with you there. You got, and that goes into you can't put the ball on the ground.
No way, not with Georgia. But I feel like we're going. I just feel like this is going to be our night. I feel like we're going to win, but it's going to be very, very close. Field goal top win.
We got that.
You just got to pull out all the stops, everything. Let it all go. It don't matter. We're already going to a bowl game. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's play loose. Where are you calling out of, Brian?
I'm calling out of Rockmart, Georgia.
Rockmart. Okay, that's not super far from me here in Smyrna. You're up.
No.
Yeah, kind of going toward Hiram. Yeah, is that Veterans Memorial 278?
Yep.
Well, cool, man. Are you going to be at the game? You're going to be watching it at home?
I'm going to be actually, I'll be at work. I got to work, but I'll be watching it at work with everybody else for sure.
Damn, man, you need to tell your boss, hey, I got more important things to do.
I know, right? This is the busiest time of the year for flying, though. It's terrible.
Are you you're in the airline industry?
Yes.
Nice, man. Nice. Yeah. Well,
yep.
I hope you don't work for Boeing, but if you do, stay safe. People ended up with holes in their head when they talked about them. In fact, I better watch my back. But I appreciate you calling in, man. Go Jackets. You got any final words for the people out here?
Man, to hell with Georgia. Like I said, they're all talk, no flash. Carson Beck, if he gets hurried, it's over for him. He's going to have a devastating night. I think we got it. Go Dogs. Not.
I heard that. Well, appreciate Brian. Let's bring on Mr. Ryan here. You're on with Georgia, or this guy said Georgia. You're on with WreckTalk. How are you doing, sir?
Good, Wreck. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. What are you thinking? What are you thinking about this game on Thanksgiving Eve?
I'm feeling better about this game than I have felt in a very long time. I want to ask your opinion about. I'm not sure if you've heard anything about this. It seems like it's kind of flown under the radar. But Warren Burrell was just. It seemed like he was almost a game time scratch against Miami, and I've heard next to nothing about him since then. I don't know if you've heard anything about his status.
I haven't. And I haven't heard anything about injuries in the secondaries as far as from Key in some time. I've heard about Eford. I haven't heard about anyone other than Eford on the defensive side, though. But that's a big loss if he's, like well less than 100% for us, especially against a high-powered Georgia passing attack.
Exactly. That's one of my worries going into the game, I guess, is that it feels like anytime you watch a press conference, you don't really – you don't hear anybody that's in that room pressing for injury updates, at least in regards to those guys in the secondary. You hear a lot about how Haynes is doing or anything like that, but you don't hear about guys like Burrell who have just kind of gone completely off the radar. And I feel like are going to, if they play, would have a big impact in the game. And if they don't, it'll also potentially have a huge impact in the game. So,
yeah, I mean, they need to ask
one thing that's giving me a little bit of worry.
In their defense, like Key's pretty close to the vest with it, and our media, I don't think, does a great job asking questions. Anyways, I think Benjamin London does a pretty good job asking questions. I think Jackson Caudell do a pretty good job. That's probably why they have the exact same Southern accent. Maybe
Exactly.
maybe that has something to do with it. But yeah, I mean, look, both of these teams are banged up, and that's why I don't want to hear anything after the game. Well, oh, we had injuries or this, that, and the other. It shocked me that. That's why in the diss track I have like the calendar of them playing UMass one day sooner and then Georgia Tech. Like, my God, who could ever overcome this? But they're not soft. Right. They're not insecure. They're oh so confident. Okay, cool.
Yeah. The most confident team or the most talented team in the country can't make up for what one less day of rest than Tech. But
two unranked teams, one being one of the worst group of 5 teams in existence. So bad they took Pumachan. That's bad. I don't even think he's on the team anymore.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's outside of that though, I really think that Tech needs to roll with Philo taking outside of those snaps within the 10-yard line where Haynes, both in the Miami game and the NC State game, scored on that little outside read option.
Yeah.
I feel like those are the only snaps that he needs to be in the game. Yeah, I feel like Philo, hopefully in practice, has been taking all of the number 1 reps. Because the receivers have struggled catching Philo's passes. The velocity that he has had on it has turned into a lot of drops and translated into 2 separate interceptions, that Singleton pass and then when he came in against Virginia Tech, that Avery Boyd pass that bounced off his hands. I mean, both of his interceptions have been a result of drops. I think that I'm hoping that he's been taking the snaps as the number 1 this week in practice.
You would have to think he has. Like, I think the first quarterback to take a snap is going to be Philo, and I do think he'll take the majority of them, unless there's some grand conspiracy, like high brain conspiracy on Key to conceal the fact that King is more healthy, than he is. But I can't believe that because it almost got your ass beat against NC State. So that, I don't really think that's the case. I think Philo will take the majority of the snaps and in practice and in the Georgia game.
Yeah. Especially in the second half of that NC State game. And it felt like anytime they brought Haynes in, he was getting blown up at the line of scrimmage. And he just feels tentative when he's running the ball now. I know that he's fighting through an injury, but it feels like even when he's running the ball, it's not the way that he ran the ball at the start of the season.
No, he's definitely like a step or two slower, and he's, kind of nursing not getting hit. Probably around the shoulder area where he's injured. And like I said, like if you bring Haynes in for like a series, they're just going to attack the line of scrimmage because there's no threat of the ball coming over top on them. And Georgia's defense is way too talented to give them, an advantage of not having to worry about 80% of your playbook.
Right. And they wouldn't even really have to stack the box the way NC State had to in those situations. They could probably just keep 6 guys in there and stuff that play every single time when we try to run it.
And that's the other thing we haven't really talked about in this game. It will be just, setting the fandom aside, just as a football fan, how does the Georgia's D-line do against what I think is a pretty talented Tech offensive line? Like, look, all the defensive line on Georgia is full of 4- and 5-star guys.
Yeah.
Are they able to get pressure with 4? Probably, but we've gone up against some pretty talented defensive fronts. So yeah, I mean, who do we give up a sack in this game? Is it more than 1? It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think that'll be a big storyline as far as the game goes, is how much pressure they're able to generate. I think that Philo moves well in the pocket. He's pretty good at evading pressure, but this is probably going to be pressure to another level than what he's had to experience if I had to guess. So I think a lot of it's just going to come down to how he's able to perform in by far the toughest environment he's ever had to play.
Yeah, and one, something else we haven't talked about. One tough thing for a young quarterback is sometimes the defense won, and you just got to take a sack. You don't need to
Yep.
take a 10-yard penalty and loss a down with an intentional grounding, or try and get rid of it and get it into the area of a wide receiver and throw a pick. Unfortunately, sometimes you just got to take a sack as a quarterback, and that's kind of part of maturing as a quarterback.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I got, man. I think that those are going to be some pretty big keys as far as how this game plays out. So I appreciate you having me on. To hell with Georgia and piss on those Natalickers.
To hell with them, man. Appreciate it. We're going to have Bryce and then T-Town Jacket next. Rambling On says, hard disagree minus the last drive. Philo wasn't stepping up in the pocket hardly at all. Philo is not a guy that really does step up in the pocket. If you watch Philo, and this is something that may be a concern in the future. He likes to throw off his back foot a lot, so he'll just kind of keep backpedaling. He kind of doesn't take a traditional 3 or a 5-step drop. He just kind of keeps backpedaling back until he finds a guy, and then kind of tries to quickly set his feet or just throw off his back foot, which can be problematic when you throw off your back foot. You usually don't have a lot on the ball and usually sail it, which gives the defense a lot of time to get in front of it. Bryce, you're on with RecTalk. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. What are you thinking about this game, or how are you feeling?
Well, I was looking at the money line. I thought it was a bit odd. Georgia being favored 20.5 points. Do you think that's a fair line? It kind of looks like free money to me.
It's moved to 19.5, I believe now. There's different betting services that put different lines on it. I would never say free money as it pertains to betting. None of these guys are going broke. But I think even Georgia fans, if they're being honest with you, will say not even 19.5 points seems like a lot to cover in this game. And I tend to agree. If I had to bet, I'd say they don't cover 19.5.
I don't think Georgia's covered all year, or if they have, they've done it like twice, right?
They've only covered like maybe 2 or 3 games this year. There's probably some Georgia fans in the chat that know better about that than me, but I know they're well below 500 covering spreads.
Yeah. So how you feeling about the game, Rick? Do you think, like, what was your score prediction if Tech were to win?
I think it'd be something similar to Miami. I don't think you win a shootout with Georgia. Georgia's more geared to do that, and they kind of did, or not kind of, they did it against Alabama. I just don't think Tech's geared to do that. Like, I just don't think you're going to keep hitting big explosive plays, across like an entire quarter or more against Georgia's defense. So if Tech wins, it's probably something similar to Miami where they win, 28-23, 25-17, something like that. I think that if they win, it's a low scoring game, and it's a defensive battle. And that's probably the thing. And you guys tell me in the chat if you're a Georgia fan. Because they don't watch Tech football, and I'm not even faulting them for that. Like, I don't watch every team we play, all year. They could be surprised with how well Tech's defense plays. In other words, I don't think they give a ton of respect just because they don't know about Tech's defense.
Oh yeah, Tyler's done a great job with our defense. I think he's gonna have them ready for sure.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, again, they got playmakers all over the field, and the other thing is when you're playing a team that's just 2 letter grades more talented than you, or a letter grade more talented than you, all mistakes defensively, since we're talking about offense, are magnified. So now if you're just a little bit out of position in coverage, you can give up points on it, right? So I'm sure Key was a menace in practice this week. From what I've heard of people that are at practice, like, he just kind of barrels down the hallways, and it's like, all right, this is a week that we're just not talking to Key. Just let him do his thing. So I see that the Doghouse podcast is in the chat. I did a thing with them. Really good dudes. What was I going to say? I've already forgot. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say one last thing. I'm feeling like Buster's definitely gonna throw some wrinkles in for this Georgia game. He definitely did during the Miami game with the 2 QB system. If you had to guess, what kind of wrinkles do you think Buster's gonna throw in for this Georgia game?
Well, that might be one of the more interesting things in this game is what has Tech been offensively up to this point? They've been a team that likes to first and foremost run the ball, but in the passing game, they like to throw quick screens. They don't really like to throw the ball downfield. They don't like to hold on the ball too long. Now, that's another reason why we haven't given up many sacks at all is because we haven't held the ball that long. We're not holding the ball for 3 seconds to try and throw a post over the top or something. So one wrinkle I think you'll see is you'll see screens come in different variants. So instead of a wide receiver screen, maybe you'll see a running back screen, or maybe you'll see more tunnel screens while the wide receiver comes laterally off the outside and tries to cut more in where the linebackers are. Also, I just think you'll see us throwing downfield more. I think so. Georgia has not seen as much tape on that, and that could be an advantage for Tech.
All right. Well, I'm on a cruise rack, so I'm gonna let you go. But to hell with Georgia.
To hell with them, man. Where are you on a cruise? Where are you going?
Mexico.
You going to Mexico? All right, man.
Yep. I bought the Wi-Fi package just so I could study up on my Georgia Tech whatever.
How much was the Wi-Fi package?
Way too much. I think I paid like $500 for it all. They charge way too much on these things.
For just the Wi-Fi? Like, how much was it to add the Wi-Fi?
It was like $25 a day or something like that.
Nonsense, dude. But I get
I
you gotta
know.
have it, man. Well, I appreciate you calling in, man. Be safe on your
All
cruise.
right. Bye, Rick.
This man's going to Mexico. I hear you. Let me skim through the chat here real quick. Georgia's defense far better than Miami's defense. That's true. Miami has a better offense. Georgia has a better defense. I don't know why this is controversial at all. 20-17 Tech. We have to establish the intermediate pass and run game with Haynes King. Well, Haynes King can't throw intermediate passes, though. 2 quarterbacks beat UGA or mobile quarterbacks. King has to make an impact in this game. I just don't know if he's available to do it. I mean, I agree if he can do it and he looks better than he did against NC State and he looks more like the guy against Miami, then yeah. But from what I saw of him playing at NC State, he's not helping you taking half of the snaps. Northern Illinois greater than UGA. Oh, I would never flip. All right, T-Town Jacket. You're on with WreckTalk. How you doing, buddy? What are you thinking about this game Friday? Where'd you go, buddy? You disconnected your mic or something, so it won't even let me add you to the StreamYard. Wreck flip to the dogs. Come on, man. I couldn't even, I'm not even capable of doing that. Okay. Jay Fendi? I'm a little scared, but we'll do it. You're on with Wreck. How are you?
What's up? Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, cool. Yeah. How's it going, WreckTalk?
It's going good, man. What do you want to talk about tonight?
Yeah, I think I mentioned in chat already, but I think this game is gonna be like really. I think we can win, but I think it'll be close. The last 2 games we were playing with like Miami and NC State, I think it's being under like 5 points. I just feel, but man, I think it'll be an exciting game, and I did mention in chat before, but I actually so I'm a current tech student doing my master's in aerospace, and
Nice.
I was actually taking photos for the Blueprint yearbook. If you're familiar with it, like I was for the
okay.
yeah, so I did UNC and Syracuse last year, and Miami and NC State this year, and being on the sideline and seeing like thousands of people rushing to the field is just the coolest thing ever. Like I hope to rush the field sometime after I graduate, but being on the other side is like the coolest experience ever. So
you'll never forget it, man. Like you'll be able to say, "Hey, I was on the sideline for that entire game." So where were you on the like when we had the strip sack? Were you on that side of the field?
I was on the other side, so I actually, if any photographers are out there, so I use a Sony Alpha A7 II mirrorless camera. I got over fall break for like the first time in my Nikon P1000. So I was on the other side, so I had to like zoom in with my Nikon a little bit, but I actually have a photo of the sack, the strip sack that like let
Nice.
us beat Miami. Actually I was thinking about, well, I'm gonna I'm hoping some of the photos will appear in the GT book this coming May, but I could send some of these photos in the Discord and feel free to use them too. So
I
I
appreciate it.
think there's some shots that you guys like. So yeah.
That'd be great, man. So, I think you were saying you wish you could be on the sideline for UGA. So I'm assuming you don't have like a pass for that.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm mainly on Blueprint, but I also do a few. I've done a volleyball game for Technique, but yeah, it's not. I don't think it's as hard as getting a pass for Mercedes Benz, but yeah, I know Technique couldn't get a pass for Sanford, so yeah, but maybe that'll be something after I graduate. But it's definitely I definitely have that on my bucket list to do a UGA GT game on sideline. I think that'd be really fun. So
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure. Yeah, maybe you are. Do you graduate this year, or you still be a student next
Um,
year?
I'm graduating in May actually, so I'm almost there. And actually, my undergrad was computer science, and Kunlin, who called earlier, we were actually classmates. So I
Oh,
can
that's
confirm he's a
awesome.
yellow jacket. So
So you, I mean, obviously I wasn't CS, but I do hate MATLAB, so I just want you to know that.
I don't blame you. Definitely a Python and Java lover myself. So
I hear you. Well, man, I
yeah,
appreciate you calling in, and we'll be rooting on the Jackets with you Friday.
indeed, and to hell with Georgia. So
To hell with it, man. Appreciate you calling in. Guy I haven't seen before, Octavian. You're on with Wreck, man. How you doing?
How you doing, guys?
Good. Do you call into Lou's show a lot?
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay, you're that Octavian. So I have heard of you. There's a legend that precedes you, sir. Go ahead. And I'm sure, I mean, you're no fan of the dogs, right? So you're fine shitting on them on
I
here.
absolutely hate those. I absolutely hate those motherfuckers. I hate them.
So what do
I
you
hate them.
think's going to happen Friday? Is Georgia
I,
overconfident in this thing? Do they get their chin above their toes a little bit too much?
I hope y'all beat the dog nuts out of them. That's what I really do.
Well, we'll see what we can do about making you a happy man Friday.
Because I can't stand them. I hate them. And as much as I want to say, I want to tell you this. I want to thank y'all for being FSU week 1 and making their season a living hell.
Oh,
Thank you.
speaking of people that still aren't over it, man. I don't know how much you watch my channel, but I went in on them hard. And because they were the first game of the season for like 2 months, I went in on them, which I don't normally do. They're still not over it. They still will like comment on every single video crying. I've never seen an implosion of a team that was more deserved than that. It was hilarious.
They're going to be crying even more Saturday when we put 50 points on them at Doak Campbell this weekend.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, man, Florida and South Carolina are two teams you do not want to play if you got something to play for in the offseason. So I'll say this, Georgia's lucky they didn't have to play. It's Lagway, right? That's your quarterback. They're lucky he got hurt because they were struggling with you until he went out.
Yeah.
And then what
happens? My thing is with Georgia, they're not good. They're not really good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, again, they had the benefit of not playing Lagway when he's healthy. Then y'all went in and beat LSU, right? I mean, you have probably the hardest schedule that's anyone's ever played, right?
Right.
I mean, you play like 80% of the top 15, right?
Right.
So, but yeah, you go ahead and put a whooping on FSU. I mean, they're down so bad they make fun of themselves as much as I do now. I've never I've never seen anything like it, man. Are they still in the
I've never
ACC?
seen it. Yeah, that's in the ACC, and I'm going to the game Sunday. I could give you a lot up there how FSU fans are really acting.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Where is that game? Is it in Tallahassee?
I live in Tallahassee. I'm a Gator fan that lives in Tallahassee.
That's
Diehard Gator
right.
fan.
That's right. Oh yeah. So you give them hell over there in Tallahassee.
I give it to him every time I see him.
Now the Doghouse podcast asked in the chat. He wants me to ask you if you're happy with Sunbelt Billy.
I absolutely am. And guess what? When Sunbelt Billy beats the dog snap out of Georgia next year, then we'll really be excited then.
Well, you heard that, Doghouse. Y'all better be watching out next year. They're gonna stick it in without asking. That's what Octavian just said.
We're gonna kick your ass in Atlanta. So all you Georgia Tech fans that's available, come on down there to Atlanta to the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, I mean, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium next year, next November. So we don't afford to get beat Georgia's ass.
All right, yeah. Well, look, I don't live but maybe 6 miles from Mercedes-Benz, so maybe we'll meet up, man. That'd be fun.
That will be good. I hope y'all tear down. I hope they tear down the goalpost this week, man. I really do. I really hope y'all tear down the goalpost and storm the field. Storm their field.
In
Make sure you
Athens?
storm their field.
You heard that. This is what we have to do, guys. Actually, all of us need to go to the game. We need to beat Georgia's ass, rush Georgia's field, weave in and out of the security, tear their shitty goalposts down. Where do we need to take them? To the sewage plant?
Just take them somewhere. Just take them to listen. Take it back to Atlanta, man. Hey, you have a civil that cut it up for years and years and years, man.
Hell yeah.
I really hate Joe. I hate those son of guns. I hate them.
Oh, I get it,
Go,
man.
Go ahead.
Like I grew up 20 minutes from Athens, so I had to hear about it nonstop. And you've probably seen it on the internet. The majority of these people showed up in 2020, didn't they? That's when they started really being loud. We couldn't handle watching Kirby Smart. What, you couldn't handle winning 9-10 games a year? But we're not soft though. Oh hell no, we're not soft. Okay. Yeah, sure. Well, cool.
Their fan base is irrelevant to me.
Well, you owned him in the 90s. That's why I brought up, this Dog Nation was talking about, oh, Kirby Smart, he's saying he hates us. Like, yeah, well, we all saying y'all loved Steve Spurrier in the 90s and you respected him so much? No. You probably said F that guy. Somehow they don't seem to understand what a rivalry is or what, like, being a college football fan is, like, basic things. But, I mean, it doesn't surprise me.
I see Hayes, like, I can see the key to victory. Hayes King is gonna do his thing. I see Georgia Tech running the ball on him because I can't see Georgia stopping the run. And I like your defense a little bit, so I think y'all can hang in there with them. And hopefully, yeah, when y'all do beat them, I ain't gonna say hope. When y'all beat them?
Hell yeah,
that'll be a great thing to do.
I heard it, man. Well, Octavian, I appreciate.
I'm gonna get off here, but go Gators and fuck Georgia.
You heard him. He didn't even say to hell with Georgia. He said F them. Octavian's a real one, isn't he? We got Charlie Squidtard and then T-Town Jacket back in. We'll go in that order. Mr. Charlie, how are you doing, sir? Can you hear me, Mr. Charlie? Speak quickly. I got a dookie. Oh, I heard you for a second.
Hold up. Do you hear me now?
I can. Go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, Reg?
Not much, man. Just keeping these Georgia fans honest.
Hey, man, me too. Trying to, anyways. First of all, to hell with Georgia, but
piss on them.
But piss on them, raise a leg on them.
Yeah.
I wanted to see what you thought about this. I was curious. I went to the I'm from Ohio.
Okay.
I was born in Atlanta. My dad's a Tech grad, so I wound up on the bandwagon that way. And I went to the Louisville game. Disappointing loss, man, because we spent a lot of.
Oh, you cut out on me.
My fault. You hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Maybe I have to keep my screen active. Sorry, I was playing this NCAA game, but I have to keep my phone.
I don't
active.
get your undivided attention, man. But pause
No.
the game.
I mean, look, man, I'm geeked. I just picked up a 5-star recruit, and I want to try him out.
All right, fair,
fair. I got my Josh Petty.
nice.
But I was at the Louisville game, and they were kind of riding the A gap a lot with Jamal. Weren't really getting the running game going, and I kind of noticed. I want to see what your thought is on this, because if you ask me, Jamal Haynes is as good of a back as we've had since Jonathan Dwyer or Jameer Gibbs. But if we can get him going in space, and I don't recall us ever losing a game if Jamal gets 80 yards, 80 or more yards on the ground.
I don't know the stats specifically, but I guarantee you in every game we've won, we've run for more than like 120 yards. I would be willing to bet that. So that's why I'm saying it's an absolute requirement. Now, it's been weird for whatever reason. We've struggled to run against teams that we shouldn't struggle against. 3-man's front has given us trouble. Would not surprise me if Georgia runs a 3-man front and brings another linebacker out or nickel. But yeah, you got to be creative and find ways to run the ball. I mean, I know Miami doesn't have the defense that Georgia does, but we should not have been able to run for 270 on them. That I do know. So do whatever you did there, or the equivalent of.
Yeah. I didn't get to run into you guys at that game, but me and I dragged my 4-year-old son, and funny enough, his name's Calvin. Good old Megatron.
All right.
Hey, I'm serious, man. We were trying to figure out what to name him whenever he was being born, and Calvin Johnson signed the 2006 homecoming jersey I had of his. And so I was like, well, honey, we got to name him Calvin. Sure enough, we did.
Hell yeah.
And man, it was cool as could be. We stormed the field and down there got a picture with a couple of the guys out there. I saw you were out there live. I didn't run into you, unfortunately. And then we were just there again last Thursday. We've been making a lot of trips from Ohio, but
nice.
So, yeah, man, it's a lot of fun. Long travel though. 8 hours to get over there. So it takes some dedication on a.
You drive from Ohio?
Yeah.
Rough, dude. Yeah, you gotta get on an airplane.
Yeah, it takes dedication to be a Tech fan, baby. But you know what? You need the nut jobs in there, Bobby Dodd. So
no, there you go.
We get in there.
Well, all right, man. Hopefully we can deliver a W for you. Appreciate you calling in.
Hey, man, appreciate you. You take it easy.
All right, see you. That was Charlie. Let me read some super chats here. And Craig, if you want, I'll refund you your money, or if I can. I'm not saying that though, and I never will. Rambling on with Zach Jones with the $2 says GT is 5-0 this year when Jamal Haynes has more than 75 yards. Craig Harris, I do appreciate the super chat, says GD, which I'll spell it out. Maybe we can make an agreement here. GO space DAWGS. The incorrect way to spell dog. So do appreciate the super chat though. Appreciate you being a part of the show tonight. Squid Tard, the man, the myth, the legend, the Tennessee man. How are you, sir?
Salutations, my friend. How are you doing tonight?
Good. And I have to mention this every time you call in. All the graphics Squid Tard did for the channel, or most of them, like the background, one of the intro videos that I use. So appreciate that, man. What do you think as an well, you're not exactly impartial. Tennessee and Georgia is its own rivalry. But what do you think about this game Friday? Clean old-fashioned hate.
Well, to be honest, that Tennessee-Georgia game means more to me than what most other Georgia fans think, because I woke up and started going around YouTube at a time where, Tennessee was getting beat by Alabama and Florida every year. So those rivalries weren't necessarily as strong. I mean, we beat Georgia, but now we got to, they have a big winning streak over us. But ever since they won that first national title back, a couple of years ago, they've been like parasites on YouTube, like just constantly sucking away at every single comment section.
Oh yeah, but they're not soft.
You're right. No, of course not. That's why every time you mention they're not the number one team in the nation and Carson Beck's not a Heisman quarterback, they don't, immediately go and spaz out.
No, if you don't say he's better than Cam Ward, I literally talked to 2 Georgia fans on another show that argued with me. Oh, no. Carson Beck's better than Cam Ward. I prove that not to be the case, and then the guy's like, well, wait, did I even say that? And I kicked him immediately. I'm like, okay, if you're not even willing to defend the point that you're making or concede it, bye. God
Right.
almighty.
It's literally like they have to self-mutilate their own team. Like they say Carson Beck's the worst quarterback that came to Georgia, and then in the exact same breath, he's a Heisman contender. It's the same thing with this Tennessee game. They said Tennessee is one of the most overrated teams in all college, and then the next breath, they talk about how that Tennessee game is one of their best quality wins of the season.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
make up your mind.
Well, it's however makes them look, the best. So Carson Beck throws all these picks against like Alabama, looks horrible against Ole Miss. Fire Bobo, fire the whole offensive staff, throw Carson Beck out of a moving vehicle and then hit him with a dumpster. And then he beats Tennessee. Best quarterback ever, all-time great. Bobo's the man. It's like, okay.
Yep.
I mean, you guys.
And I'm sorry because I had to go to that game. I went to that Tennessee game in Athens, and it was awful. There were of course some good Georgia fans down there, but most of them they barked at me.
Oh, yeah.
One smacked me upside the head, about through hands.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was. I was actually in part of the student section for that game, and I was disguised in my mustard costume. But towards the second half of that game, people around me started to know I was a Tennessee fan because I was sitting there celebrating whenever like Dylan Sampson or somebody like that score. And then eventually, once Georgia started to maintain the lead, and it was out of our hands. The Georgia fans really started getting loud, and one of them got loud enough to the point that he smacked me upside the head, and I turned around and I about threw hands with him.
Was it intentional, or he was just celebrating?
100%, 100%. But he was like, I didn't think I hit you that hard, and then. And then after the game, he came up to me and was like, "Hey man, look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit you like that, bro. I was just messing with you." And I'm like, "Look, man, you can talk all the shit you want. That's fine. But the moment you touch me, that's when we got a problem." And no, he was.
You should have just hit him with one of those Joe Frazier left hooks and been like, "Was that hard? Is that how hard you hit me?"
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'll do him like I'll do him like when that Georgia Tech defensive back fought George Pickens.
Yeah, and he threw him into a brick wall. Boy, Pickens is a pillar of morality, right? Isn't he effing up stuff? Is he still with the Steelers? Wasn't he with the Steelers doing dumb stuff for them too? He got a penalty against Tennessee because he pretended he was peeing on a Tennessee player with his water bottle. You remember that?
Oh yeah, real class act, I'll tell you. Both him and Quay Walker.
That's the other thing they try and tell me. They're like, "Oh man, WreckTalk. You got to be classy, man. Classy." Even these Dog Nation guys are like, EJ Lightsley, oh, he acts right. He's a Georgia guy. Meanwhile, they assault unborn fetuses, kidnap people, drive 120 miles an hour, blow, a .2. But yeah, I mean, no, you guys. So
but it was only a misdemeanor, though.
It's just a driving related incident. Yeah, I mean, he almost killed 4 or 5 people. 2 people did die, but hey, let's just overlook all that. So yeah, but Georgia's great. Everything they do is great.
Absolutely. I really hope y'all beat them. Not just because of the fact that obviously it would be funny to laugh at them and see them out of the playoffs, but because if they wound up winning out, if they lose the SEC championship game because they're in it, and they don't lose to Georgia Tech, chances are they'll be hosting a playoff game in Athens. And if the playoffs line up like I think they will, it looks like
you'll rematch them.
Yeah, it'll be a return to Athens because I don't think they'll rank them below Tennessee. Obviously, I would love nothing more.
It wouldn't make sense, but yeah,
because a lot of Georgia fans won't agree with me on this, but I think if Tennessee hosts that game in the regular season, there's a much better chance that we would have won. And they don't like to talk about that and all the false starts that we had from the crowd, but that's the truth. So obviously, I hope Tech pulls out the dub. I'll be rooting for y'all on Saturday.
Well, here's what could happen.
Don't let me down.
Here's what could happen. They could lose to Georgia Tech. Now I know they don't think that's a possibility. They could lose to Georgia Tech. Then if they lose the SEC title, I think they're out. And then they would cry, well, they said we won't get punished for playing a conference title. Yeah, but if you lost to Tech, then the only way you could get in is an automatic bid by winning your conference. It wouldn't be you being punished. It would be your only avenue was an automatic bid.
That would be the only thing they could do because they'd have
They'd have
say they're
3
not,
losses.
9-4. Yeah, 9-4.
Oh, they
Also,
would be 9-4, and
Yeah.
like a loss to Tech would be a bad loss for them.
On top of that, Alabama and Ole Miss, who only have the 3 losses, same as Georgia, they would both have the tiebreaker over Georgia. So, yeah, no, I think if they lose to Tech, and they'd have to win the SEC championship in order to get in the playoffs. That would be literally the only way imaginable.
Agreed. Well, I'll see if we can make you happy, Squid Tart. And the sweetest thing is they'd have to hear from me for an entire year, which they couldn't handle.
Well, the thing is about that is that you won't be able to even yap to them because they'll be gone, just like they were when they lost to Alabama last year in the SEC championship game and got left out of the playoffs. My comment section filled with all the barking Georgia fans. Literally, it was a Scooby-Doo ghost town the next day. None of them were they were all gone. They were gone.
Ruby Roo.
So it just completely vanished off the face of the earth. They can't handle it.
No, well, I've made one fan base disappear in week 0. We'll see if I can't make another one disappear.
Oh, it would be pleasant. I'll say that much. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see him in the offseason nonetheless. About how the next new quarterback they've got should be on the Heisman list and #1 and everything.
Well, it could be Carson Beck if he comes back. I mean, I don't know if he's going to enter the draft or not, but yeah. But anyway, Squid, I appreciate you calling in, man. Good friend of the channel. And can you just give me a to hell with Georgia?
Fuck Georgia. Whee!
I love it. Let me read the super chat up here. Aaron with the $5 super chat. Appreciate the super chat, sir. Says, hey, homie, a dog here. Watch Lou hang out with Boogie, talking Vols, and now hanging out with you. You're solid and thought out. Earned a sub, bro. I don't know what GL is. Now, I am an idiot, so that could be on me. So it's supposed to be like GG. Anyways, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, we'll be streaming the game, C-Dog and I, so, stop by in there. You can give us the hell in there if you'd like. Name one Georgia Tech player with beefy NFL stats. Yeah, Calvin Johnson, only the greatest receiver that has ever played the game at any level. But yeah, who's counting? T-Town Jacket, you're back on, man. How are you doing?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can, man.
I'm an old man with technological issues here. I've never participated in anything like this, but
no, it's all good.
I just wanted to come on and tell you I appreciated the balls you have, and I wish our fan base would follow suit.
Oh yeah, man. So are you you'll be watching the game from home? You're going to the game?
I'll be at home. I'm actually the dad to the kid that found you after the game the other night.
Oh yeah, man.
Thursday night.
Oh, cool.
We're walking out of there, and he looks up. He's like, "Hey," he starts hollering to somebody, and I'm like, "How do you know anybody here? You're 12, And
the internet's.
And he does. He sits and watches YouTube. He's such a big Tech fan. I've cursed him. He's gonna be like me. But yeah, that was just neat to run into y'all the other night, and I've been watching your channel ever since, and I appreciate the no holds barred attitude you got towards things, and the I wish we could all get on board and act the same.
Oh yeah, this is one of the problems with the Tech fan base is there's so many fan police that oh, you can't do this. One guy got mad at me and C-Dog for getting too excited after we beat Miami after they didn't take a knee. Give me 1 second. This has to be addressed. For whatever reason, Georgia fans can't do the exercise where it's like arrange the pictures to tell a story, put them in order. Joey says Tech beat Florida State, and now we're all supposed to think Georgia's on upset alert. No, we beat Miami. In the words of Hannibal Lecter, if you can't keep up, best not to be a part of the conversation at all. And you know what the arranging the picture things is a test for? Brain damage, which you all have. So go ahead, T-Town Jacket.
Right on. Well, to the game, I mean, last year, to the way you speak about Georgia fans, same thing. I'm sitting with a crowd of them. I have a big party every year for the game, um, and oh, well, we ain't even playing our starters or whatever, that kind of crap. And it's like, man, y'all can't stop us. They couldn't, and they won't be able to stop us again this year.
Yeah.
The only difference I see this year is that we are going to slow down the run like we didn't last year. They didn't really have to try. They didn't really have to do anything offensively last year, but run the ball.
Well,
this
they
year,
were able to pick their spots throwing. And this is the thing again this year. Georgia has the 98th ranked rushing offense. So I don't want to hear anything about strength of schedule or any of that. That doesn't justify having the 98th. I mean, there's only then like 30 teams that rush for less yards than Georgia does. That's embarrassing.
That's right. They're gonna have to. They're gonna have to do something other than run it down our throats this year, which I think is bodes well for us. I mean, I really think we're going to have the same offensive output we had last year, and defensively, I think we're going to slow them down even more. I'm excited. I think we got a shot.
I hope so, man. I feel about the same this year. I mean, honestly, like if I'm being as objective as possible as I did last year, but I mean, I felt that pretty good last year though. Like that game was surprising to them that it was an 8-point victory for them. It wasn't surprising to me that it was going to be that close. And they'll say, "Oh, well, you're bragging, you're doing a moral victory." No, y'all are bitching about a game, complaining about refs in a game you won. And then I told you right here, I said, go ahead and continue doing that next week when Alabama takes this game plan with better players and beats your ass. And that's what happened.
Exactly.
I mean,
right.
It's a crazy how prophetic I can be.
Y'all have touched on a lot of the stuff I was going to say. Your other callers have really, I mean, it's been a good show. But yeah, that's, the whole, I pull for Tech when we're not playing y'all thing. That's the biggest dig, to me. Like, I can't stand it. They think they're being nice, but it's like, man, that's the worst thing you can say to me, that just shows how bad we've got to get it back right,
Well, I don't believe that. What they'll say is like, "Oh, I mean, we really want y'all to get better so the rivalry's more competitive." And I'll say it again, no, they don't. Because if they're losing this thing every other year, they're going to melt down. Again, we won. The last time we won, this guy comes crying to me at work about his freaking hedges. So I can't imagine what would happen if Keys, got a 500 record against you. My God, y'all really would disappear then, like your hedges will after the game this Saturday.
Right. And really, the thing that's so frustrating is they really have just been so good, over the last decade. I mean, who else has beat them 3 times in the last, whatever? How many?
Alabama.
I mean, who else has beat them at home 3 times in the last 15 years or whatever? It's not. I mean, they've just been a dominant program.
No, they have been good, and that's why, like, look, I'm still on here talking trash. But T10, I appreciate you calling in. Motivated, dedicated, out of here. But we got some other people in here, man. I appreciate you calling in.
To hell with Georgia.
To hell with them. Motivated, dedicated. I apologize. Come back in, and I'll stop the show because Motivated, dedicated is a Georgia fan, but he's a reasonable Georgia fan, and he's hilarious, and he's a devil dog. So, Mystic, you're on with Wreck. How are you?
Oh, I'm hyped. I'm hyped for Friday.
He's hyped. Are you all the way turned up?
Oh, I'm 120, 130%.
Hell yeah.
Well, feeling good. Feeling good.
So you're feeling good. How do you think this game's going to go?
I've said it all season. You remember I called in a few weeks ago before we beat Miami. I said even after we only scored 6 against VT, we're going to win this game, and I'm standing by it.
All right. This man's been calling this for weeks now.
I mean, I call it the start of the season. I call it before we even played Florida State. I just we're due a win. We just are. It's one of those. You just my dad tell you the opposite. He's had too many Chan Gailey experiences. Besides the point.
Yeah, he never beat him. That was that was really the reason he was fired.
Oh yeah, no, I know that, but he'll never forgive him for that.
No, I get it. I mean, that's when this thing started turning. That's when the talent differential started getting out of whack. Because, like, you know, when Joe Hamilton and George Gotsey were here, these teams were really the same talent-wise, program-wise, and everything else. And then, unfortunately, and look, I'll call it like you know, to give you the facts. Once Mark Richt took over and started recruiting in the top 10 every year, the thing really started getting out of whack.
Oh, yeah. But I'm like I say, I think we're starting to turn things in our favor. Like I say, I think we're due a win, but I think we're going to see Haynes King a lot more this game than people realize.
Okay, I don't think so, but if we do, that means that means good things. So I hope you're right.
Well, like last Thursday though, like when everybody said, "Oh, he didn't hit the tight end," it wasn't he couldn't throw that ball to that tight end. He just missed him. He wasn't upset or hurt. He just missed the guy. He was more pissed about that.
Oh yeah, my thing was just he didn't look great running the ball. I felt like in that game.
Yeah, but like I said, we struggled against 3-man fronts all year. That's kind of the
got to find a way though, because I really do think you're going to see Georgia throw some sets out with a 3-man front. Like anyone that's watched film on this offense is going to know that.
They may throw some, but there's whole defensive structures around 4-man front. So they're going to do some, but I don't think they're going to do as much as people think they will.
Sure. Do you have a final score prediction?
Well, I told a buddy of mine who's nervous, and I ain't nervous. I wasn't nervous in Miami either. I'm confident the whole time. But I said the way we're going to have to win is we got to get 30 points before they do. I've got us at 30-27.
All right, you got this thing a field goal. Mystic, he was confident against call this man Stonewall Mystic. This man knows his team.
And one more thing, I'm going to be at the game. I'm going to be in the Georgia student section of this game.
Oh, shit.
I'm the only one. Y'all going to see me on TV. I got a buddy who got me a ticket. It's going to be war down there.
Yeah, man. In all seriousness, be careful, man. Like it's going to be a night game. They're going to be good and drunk. I have sat in the Georgia student section before. It wasn't when we played. It was actually when they got beat by South Carolina when Muschamp was there. But yeah, man, it should be fun. Take some pictures for us. Put it in the Discord, man. I'd be very interested to see. Oh yeah. Well, cool.
Tell Georgia, piss on them. I'll see y'all Saturday, hopefully smiling.
Friday, but yes.
Friday, excuse me.
yeah, it's weird. It's on a Friday. So that's Mystic, everybody. Man's calling his shots. He's doing the Babe Ruth. Calling the dogs out. Josh Pittman, you're on, sir. How are you?
What is up, my man? How are you?
Josh Pittman's a good friend of the channel and a friend of mine, man. You're at every game. I think you've been at every game this season that I can think of. Josh rode to North Carolina with us when we broke Collins's heart. And we haven't even mentioned Collins today. He hadn't been on my radar because we're talking about Georgia. But again, he retired as I predicted. You know how like Kelly Quinlan will be like, JOL had it first. WreckTalk had that first, that he'd retire a Hall of Fame coach inside of a year. And he didn't disappoint.
We sure did stand behind him and give him a bunch of crap that game, didn't we? Well,
you were the first one. As soon as we got on the field at Chapel Hill, you, as loud as I've ever heard anyone yell, go, Jeffrey! He had to have heard you because nothing was going on. It was like Jeff and maybe 12 other people on the field when you did that. So you're a real one, man.
Well, hey, man, we went up there for the weekend trip, so I had to get my money's worth out of it, you know?
That was a ton of fun. That's something we should do once every year and just make a yearly thing about it. I really enjoyed that. Also, I lied to you guys about the gas situation. So we were, I want to say 6 miles from being there, and not you, but the other guy was like, hey, is how long has the gas light been on? I was like, oh, dude, it ain't been on, but like a few miles, we're fine.
The other dude, put some respect on Cray's name, man.
I'm sorry, yeah, Crayfish. That's on me. Crayfish, like, yeah, is the gas light, how long has that been on? I'm like, yeah, I got it under control. I had no idea how long the gas light had been on.
I think that was the reason why they had to move the defensive huddle to the other side of the field, because they're like, that was the spy. We need to be away from him. He knows everything. We cannot be near that guy.
Well, I figured if we run out of gas, it's going to happen anyway, and there's no need in freaking out the entire truck on the way to it. So good thing it worked out. But let's talk about this game, man. How are you feeling about this game Friday?
So for the most part of this, like since the start of this year, I've been pretty confident. But as we get closer and we don't know, like because Brent will not tell us what is wrong with Haynes, and we do not have a temperature gauge on like how he's feeling and how he's recovering. I don't. I'm not saying I don't trust Aaron Philo to go into this game as a true freshman. Excuse me.
It's a tough
He
environment.
definitely very tough environment. Night game, Sanford, drunken idiots screaming at you, not know what they're saying.
Yeah. And I don't know. It might be a sellout. What does Sanford hold? Someone in the chat probably knows.
I'm assuming like 93,000, 92,000.
I think it's like 98. I could be wrong. It's a lot.
I was talking to my cousins about this game. I was like, Aaron Philo may come out as a legend of this game if everything goes the way we want it to.
Yeah. Now they're saying, what if Philo transferred to UGA? Yeah, you type that, but Beck's the greatest quarterback ever, but you're worried about this freshman 3-star quarterback that Tech has. Y'all are trash, man.
Carson Beck's the greatest quarterback up till Alabama, and then up till Tennessee, he's the worst. And then after Tennessee, Heisman candidate, first round pick. He's going to the first overall pick.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, Carson Beck's greater than Cam Ward. Also, I'm gooning after Aaron Philo. They say it holds 93.8, so I guess I was wrong. Beck is going to the draft.
People.
Well, you say so. Obviously you probably have if you're a Georgia fan, a better beat on whether he's going to the draft or not. What I will say is NIL really is going to change whether someone goes to the draft or not. He's making like $4 million right now, so it depends on where he goes in the first round. Like going in the first half of the first round, pay and bonus wise is way different than going in the second half. I just don't. Well, I mean, people have predictions all the time, right? I don't mean that's what's going to happen, but hey.
If he goes day one, it's rigged. There's no way. After the way that he's been this year, because I said going into this year, I was like, without Bowers and McConkey, you're really going to find out what he can do with the whole weight of the team on his shoulders. And so far, he's proven at times that he can be, elite. But then other times when, playing elite defenses, he's shown that like he doesn't have those key guys. Yeah, he's got like Bell and I think that's his name. I don't really know. And ETN, and then
Delk.
Delk.
Tight end, I think, for them.
Yeah, he's shown at times that he can do it, but it's just I don't know. And I'm glad that he's got his 2 good games out of the way with Tennessee and who they just play UMass. Yeah. So maybe this will be the game that Sea Dog. This is the Carson Beck Sea Dog loves. Is like the Alabama Carson Beck.
I hope so. I mean, as a Tech fan, I'm hoping I hope he plays like his face looks, which is awful. I mean, that's what I want. It's what worries me is we are suspect in the secondary of the defense, and Georgia's definitely a team that can take advantage of that. So we're going to have to play. That's another thing. You're probably going to have to play as well as you've played all year. Or you're going to have to play like you did against Miami.
I was about to say, you literally have to, like, the same defensive strategy you had against Miami, you have to have against Georgia, because they're literally going to do what Miami does is throw the ball.
Yeah.
Because Georgia's got, the 98th rushing offense? In our lifetime, did you ever think that we would say Georgia's ranked 90th in anything?
No, and I know they'll say they've had a ton of injuries, but still, like 98th? I mean, Tech's
when you got 4 and 5 stars all in your running back room, that's not a good excuse.
Right. Tech's had as many injuries at running back as Georgia. We're 40th, I think, at rush offense in the country. So,
yep.
Alex says Dillian Bell and ETN are most likely out. Bell has a better chance of
That's
playing,
huge.
but wouldn't be shocked if they rest him for the SEC championship. Well, go ahead, rest all the guys that you think you don't need to win this game, and that'll serve me just
It's
as
the
well
same
too.
crap they said last year. They said, "Oh, they're sitting Bowers and McCon." Do you really think they're going to sit their senior season potentially? Well, it was their senior season of the last season period before they went to the NFL. Do you really think they're going to sit out for their biggest rivalry game of the year?
I don't think they did play
They didn't, because
last year.
Bowers was running routes during warmups, and he turned out, or he turned in, and went to the locker room and came out with just his jersey on and no pads.
Wasn't
And
feeling it.
McConkey was battling back injuries all year.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Josh, like we're about to get out of here. Now, if you didn't know, I ran out of depth like before the show,
oh
and I'm
no,
so committed. Like I'm sweating right now. There's probably not anyone as addicted to nicotine as me, and that's because I root for Georgia Tech, and I need something to take the edge off. What I will say is, I would love for a Georgia fan to call in. Like everyone that's called in has been either Tech fans, or we had a Florida fan, a Tennessee fan. I'd love for another Georgia fan to call in before we get out of here. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But Josh, you gave a score prediction, right? You said 30. No, you didn't.
that was Mystic. That was Mystic.
What's your score prediction?
If I had to give one gun to the head, I'd go 35-32 Tech, just because
All right. So you're
I
taking
just
the over too.
I just have this feeling that Tech's going to pull it off. And I had that same feeling with Miami. I went on a hunting trip, and I said I feel like something's going to happen. And
I
I,
got a
I
feeling. Woo, woo. All right. I like it. I like it.
But you're talking about your Nick chat. When we went up to North Carolina, he went to this gas station, and and they're like, "Well, how many cans of this do you need?" And he goes, "Yes, every can you got."
I think I did
And,
buy every can of it of like Longhorn they had.
and when you got back in the truck, you're like, "They gave me a weird number. I'm pissed, but it'll do."
Yeah, it was less than 5. Like if you don't have a full roll, then what are you doing? What do you think the
Gross
point
number.
of a gas station is other than getting gas?
That's true. That's true. Well, I'm gonna get out of here, boys. To hell with Georgia. Piss on them. We'll see y'all later.
Appreciate it, Josh. That was Josh Pittman, friend of the channel. Yeah, I would much rather Georgia fans call in. Luckily, we had 2 called in the last stream. And shout out to Mayhem Matthew. Like, he is a Georgia fan. He's probably been higher on Tech than any, not just Georgia fan, but non-Tech fan has been. I like Mayhem Matthew. C-Raw decides to, I don't know, lobotomize himself in the middle of arguments, but I guess he's okay. But I'll probably give it another 2 minutes. If you're a Georgia fan, there's a StreamYard link at the top of the chat. You want to come in, trash talk a little bit, say whatever you want to. I mean, that's what rivalries are about, right? This is why I love Rivalry Week. I don't even care who you're a fan of. You get into Rivalry Week, and it's a time where it's okay to just hate somebody for some preference of theirs. And I can't think, like, I love hating things. I hate a lot of things. I got a lot of hate in my heart. So hate week serves me just fine. And now that I have a channel, I can make videos about all the things I hate. I can talk endlessly on live streams about dumb things I hate, like condiments, left-handed people, things you can't even help, your dexterity, right? So no one loves hating as much as I do. I'm looking forward to this game Friday. What do I dip? Longhorn straight, because a can of Grizzly's like $8 now. You're a coward. Well, look, dude, when people call in, I match their energy. So, like, I'm not going to go gloves off if that's not something you want to do. It's an interesting name, VWS10. Are you a Georgia fan, sir? What do you have to say?
Hey, man, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
Cool. I'm a tech student right now, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir. I'm really excited for the game on Friday. I think that we're going to win, honestly. Like, I know that might be a controversial take, but
it ain't controversial on this show. The hell with
that's
them.
what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. And we're going to push those puppies in Athens because they fucking suck this year. Like, they're 8-2 already.
Yeah, dude.
I think Aaron Philo is that guy, man. We're going to be seeing him playing on Sundays. I have complete faith in him. I hope he decides to bring the red shirt because he's our best shot.
He will.
To beat him. I think he will. I have a buddy that works for the football team. I think they will.
Yeah, you're right, dude. Aaron Philo is that guy. Aaron Philo walks into a room, his dick's already been there for 5 minutes, and he's got King Kong's balls. All right?
Exactly.
George is going to
Yeah,
find
absolutely.
that out. George is going to find that out Friday. You get me. We'll end this show lit up, man. That's what I'm talking about.
Hell yeah.
Dude,
I'm super fucking excited, man. Like, unfortunately, I can't be in Athens because I'm not a in-state student. But I'll be watching at home. I got all of my buddies that are gonna be
Oh, you're
watching
not in the
it.
state. That
Oh,
threw
no,
me
sir.
for a loop for a second. I'm not an in-state student. Like, well, if you're paying out-of-state tuition, they still let you buy a ticket. I know what you're
Oh
saying.
yeah, no,
now.
I bought the season ticket. I just like folks want me home for Thanksgiving, right?
That's right.
Yeah. No, but I'm super excited for this game, man. I think it's our best shot. Obviously, I wish it was in Atlanta. If it was in Atlanta, I'd be there for the game. But it's gonna be even better to beat them at Sanford in front of all those fans, I think.
Hell yeah, brother. Well, I appreciate you calling in. We'll end the show on that call. And what do you give us a final word?
I have total faith in Key, total faith in Philo. Man, those Yellow Jackets, the best team in the ACC, and we're gonna show the quote unquote University of Georgia that they ain't the big dog in Georgia anymore.
I heard that. All right. Well, appreciate that, VS. Yeah, let's end it on a high note. All right. Because you want to come in here talking to Wreck, Daddy Wreck in Georgia Tech. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, Aaron Philo having, Brent Key head coach having, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time keeping these Yellow Jackets down. Whoa! What do you know about that? We got Jamal Haynes. Jamal Haynes is so fast, he cuts the lights off, and he gets in bed before the room gets dark. All right? He caught lightning, put thunder in jail. They're bad. They're bad. All of them too pretty, and they can't possibly be beat. Can't possibly be beat. Kiss stealing. That's the other thing. That's why I'm not going to Athens. Because I lived in Athens. I kissed half the women in there and made them cry. All right? And even when I go up there, if I did a live show, I'd have to say, hey, now you be quiet, ladies, because I ain't taking you home no matter what you say. All right? I got a job to do. Yeah, come on. So, to hell with Georgia. Piss on them. And look, Sea-Dog and I will be streaming this thing Friday night. Enjoy the trash talk. And I enjoy all the Georgia fans that are in here. Enjoy the trash talk. We get to go back and forth. That's what makes a rivalry fun. And have a happy Thanksgiving. You guys have a good one.